What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the 10-7 MMA Show. And for all you guys, I know we were planning to go at 4 o'clock. We're planning to go at an earlier regular time as well. But we both had just a lot of things pop up today. Justin was traveling. I had some stuff with my dog that got me delayed, more delayed than I thought. So to everybody who was waiting, obviously, especially our number one supporter, Western Mass Climber, we're so sorry. Western Mass Climber wrote in something like scam when we put the 4 o'clock and we didn't show up. So, hey, we're sorry. I hope you're jumping on now. We really apologize. Anyways, let's talk about, there's a lot of stuff going on. By the way, first of all, tell us what you're in Montana. Why are you there? What's going down?
Yeah, I'm in Montana right now. I'm here with one of my coaches, Roman Isbell. He runs RAI. It's Roman Athletic Institute. He's a manager. He has about 100 fighters under him right now. Just about to break into the UFC. We're out here in Montana. We're in Missoula, Montana, for the Fusion Fight League. So he's out here. He has Gage Saunders fighting tomorrow. I'm out here to eat some cookies and drink some energy drinks and drink beer. And I'm doing the commentary for tomorrow night's show.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. All right. Well, cool. Well, have fun in Montana. Okay.
With that being said, that's another thing too I want to talk to you about is as the backup. If you because I'm going to talk to Richie and Terrell tomorrow because we have a bunch of shows coming up this week or this year, and I know you and I talked about it last year about getting you into commentary. If Richie ever needs a fill-in, I'm going to recommend you. So I'm going to talk to you guys about it tomorrow.
I'll be like the new Dominic Cruz on the mic on the commentary. That'd be so much fun. All right. So we got some crazy stuff. We got some crazy announcements that I want to talk to you about today. The first and foremost, we talked about the Dustin Poirier fight against Benoit Saint Denis. Such an amazing fight. And a lot of people are saying or were saying, hey, Dustin should fight Islam. And now here's the reason. The reason is obviously Justin Gaethje seemed to be next in line. You have also got the Arman Tsarukyan fight against Charles Oliveira. So those are also some potential contenders. But based on the timeline and the timing of everything, right? We've got Tsarukyan fighting at UFC 300. We've also got Gaethje fighting at 300, Max Holloway. There's no way they're going to turn around in June. And the reason why I say June is because that's what Islam wants. That's what Islam is calling for. And he just said in an interview, I believe it was released today or last night, that he's game to fight Dustin if the UFC is open to it. So this is a very exciting development. And I would say arguably Dustin is the most popular in the lightweight division or maybe number 2 or number 1 in there. He's one of the most popular fighters in the lightweight division. In my opinion, he's my favorite. I would want to see him or maybe Justin Gaethje or Islam, one of those three the most. What do you think about this potential matchup? And how do you feel about it being the next title fight for Islam?
You know, I really like the matchup. Dustin is that old school dog that, he can show up anytime and put anybody to sleep. With that being said, he lost his fight before to Justin Gaethje. I come from the old school wrestling seeding style, man. When you beat somebody, you're ahead of that person regardless. Unless, it gets like in wrestling, they have coaches seeding meetings. And, essentially if whoever you beat, you should be ahead of them. Now, the arguments come in of when you lose or if you beat somebody and then another guy, you know what I mean? Like it gets mixed up like that. Right now, I think Justin Gaethje should be at the front leader. And I think Poirier should be a second or a third place in there, but really depending on how he comes out. Now, since Islam is talking about wanting the fight in June, I do think that favors Dustin for what you're saying is because Justin Gaethje, who I believe is first up in line, is already fighting at 300. So I do think that does make a lot of sense. Now, if they can't lock it down for June, which I'm sure they will because that's what Islam requested, I think they got to look at Gaethje. But as for June, I'm all about Dustin Poirier. I think he's a fucking dog. He just went out there. He put his whole career on the line. I mean, if he loses that fight last weekend, like where does he go next? He loses 2 fights in a row. He loses to an old school vet like Justin Gaethje. And then he loses to an up and coming Saint Denis. We don't know where he's going to go, but to come back in that second round and start Saint Denis the way he did and to persevere through that first round, definitely, in my opinion, puts him in title contention.
I agree. And it's if people want to argue about that, hey, like Justin Gaethje deserves it more than Dustin, it's fine. But the bottom line is he took a fight with Max Holloway. I think he had the title fight lined up, but he chose to do something else instead. And as a result, I think it makes sense for Dustin. Plus, Dustin is a huge star. Like I said, I think arguably the biggest star in the lightweight division, especially after that last fight. So I think it makes a lot of sense. Now, I want to show you one other clip, okay? This is amazing. Did you get a chance to see Dustin on the MMA Hour this week?
I have not.
Okay, I want to show you something right now, and I want to show everybody something right now. Hold on one sec. Let me pause this. Uh-oh. Cosmo, you okay, Bubba? Okay, I thought he threw up. Sorry, my dog is recovering right now. But the thing is, this is why I love the sport. Okay, when you're going through stuff, which I've been going through some different things in my life, and you hear somebody like Dustin Poirier, who you respect so much in these interviews. I just want to play this for you, man. This was so inspiring to me earlier in the week when I heard this. One of the most amazing interviews, and this is why MMA is the greatest sport on the planet, most inspiring people ever. All right, listen to this. Check this out.
Learning. He's going to learn a lot from this fight. The first time I lost that way, I learned a lot. He's going to find out a lot about himself. Losses like that, if you're in the right state of mind, it's really a beautiful time to experience yourself, to find out who you are and have a moment with yourself. When you're winning and the ball's moving and it's going down like a snowball effect, everything's moving so well with you, growing big, everything's getting bigger. It's easy to miss a lot of the lessons, and I think about this stuff the older I get, with wins too, with losses, with everything. Like, there's so many little messages that we could be learning from going through this experience of life and fighting. If he's in the right state of mind, he'll pick up those lessons. It's just really a great time to experience yourself.
I mean, I don't know if that hits you like it hit me, but especially like that perspective and the wherewithal to have that perspective in those tough times. Now, some of the things that he talks about, again, if you haven't seen this interview, you have to see it. It's a must, because he also opens up about how the struggles he went through after that Justin Gaethje launch, insinuating that he was suicidal, because they said, were you ever concerned about your safety? He's like, oh yeah, I definitely was. And it said his business partners and his wife were the ones that were key to pulling him out of the depression. The other thing he said, man, if my wife put me through what I put her through, I don't know if I could have withstood it. I mean, he said that honestly. I would like to think I would have, but I don't know if I could have stuck there. So he's like, I'm just so grateful to have her. And hearing these thoughts and these ideas, especially when myself or other people or other fans are going through tough times, man, you listen to something like this, and it just gives you such amazing perspective, because I mean, you're a fighter. The challenges, the ups and downs, the things that you guys have to deal with, it's insanity. And to a regular person like me, man, it's a guiding light. It's a beautiful thing. One of the most beautiful things. What are your thoughts?
Man, he hit it. Excuse me, I'm battling a little bit of a cold here right now, but he hit the nail on the head, man. And the snowball effect is, a lot of fighters like to talk about it, man. So for him to bring that up, when things are going good, he's absolutely right, man. You get good momentum going. You just feel like there's been spots in my career to where I felt like I couldn't lose. I'm on a 4 or 5 fight win streak. I can do everything I want. I can knock a guy out in the first round. I can submit him in the first round. I can knock him out in the second round. When that ball is rolling and you're getting all this confidence, and he's absolutely right. And I like how he said, no, you miss a lot of the small lessons, because winning is easy, man. When you're winning, like everyone's stroking your ego. Everyone's telling you how great you are, man. Like it's a perfect storm, when you're winning. Like when I won my UFC debut, I had 1,500 messages in my inbox, everyone telling me how great I am. I lose my next fight, I have 100 messages of people telling me how shitty I am. The thing about the snowball effect, it works on both sides of the spectrum. When you're winning and you got that good momentum going, it's great. It feels sometimes unstoppable. But then you lose, and then you lose, and then you lose. And now this snowball, I call it a pit snowball, because it's gaining all this size and speed, and you don't know what's going on. You don't know how to stop it. So I think that's such a perfect analogy, and that's why Dustin Poirier is one of my favorite fighters. And I mean, I'm going to put him in my top 3. Justin Gaethje probably being my first, because he is the most violent man. But Dustin Poirier, man, he's such a legend in the sport. He's been around. He's a former champion. He's been in the UFC since like 2012 or 2014, man. And just to know all the shit he's dealt with, and he's been knocked out, and he's been down but not out, and even in against St. Denis, man, that first round he weathered a storm, dude. Like, I didn't know how long, I didn't know if he could make it out of there. And he comes through like Dustin does. He persevered and found the knockout in the second round.
Phenomenal. Love Dustin so much. If you do see this, Dustin, your interview was absolutely inspiring, as was your fight. So, anyways, let's move it on. Enough of the me getting almost emotional here. Just reflecting
no
back.
Crying, no crying on the 10-7, man.
Yeah, but it was just such a great interview, and yeah, Dustin's the man. All right, next we want to talk about why Merab should be next for Sean O'Malley. So I listened to a really great interview with Merab. He's so funny, and I know you train with him. Great personality, amazing fighting style, and obviously the only other person that's been brought up is Ilia Topuria. I firmly believe that Merab should be next for O'Malley, and I can wax poetic about that. But before I give my thoughts, I want to turn over to you. I know you trained with Merab. What are your thoughts? Why do you think he should definitely be the next matchup for O'Malley?
I mean, it's very simple because he deserves it. And there's no other. The guy is a workhorse. The guy has an unlimited gas tank. The guy stepped down from fighting, Aljamain Sterling, one of his best friends, if not his best friend, for the title because it's his friend. I mean, there's nothing more respectful than that. And not to mention the storyline with, his best friend being the champion, Aljamain Sterling, getting knocked out by Sean O'Malley. Merab now going to come in and, try to avenge. I mean, it's a perfect storyline. The guy he's not, excuse me, I'm sorry. I'm, like I said, battling this cold. The guy has an unlimited gas tank. The guy works his ass off. The guy's loyal to his team. He's loyal to his friends. I mean, man, as me and Roman were talking about earlier days, you just don't find that kind of loyalty. You look at like Colby Covington, Jorge Masvidal, who are training together and they're on the upcoming together, and now they get to the top, and now they're beefing who's better, who deserves what fight, and now they're not friends. And I think there's a police order against Jorge Masvidal for punching Colby. That's not Merab and Aljo. Merab respected Aljo as his friend, as his teammate enough to let him have his reign and sit in the back seat and just keep beating guys until it was his turn. Now it's his turn. Now it's time for Merab to show up, turn on the gas tank, and get in Sean O'Malley's face.
And it's a very fascinating matchup, by the way. I think that it's kind of a tricky matchup for both of them, which makes it a very interesting fight. Big stakes on the line. And if O'Malley pulls it off from his perspective, this is why I think he should want to fight him. Everybody thinks he's ducking Merab by calling out Ilia. Whether or not that's the case, who cares, right? But that's the perception. So I think O'Malley should get in there, and they're both tricky matchups for each other. So it's such a fascinating, phenomenal fight. Plus, I want to say that I think Merab's won a lot of fans over with his recent interviews. He's sort of come out now. He's really showing his personality. The dude's hilarious. I think he's got a very entertaining fight style. Whether or not everybody agrees, I think he does. And I think his last fight against Henry Cejudo was amazing. So I think we should see that next. I don't really want to see O'Malley fight Ilia, at least not yet. But that's my personal perspective. So hopefully we convinced everybody that should be a done deal. Okay, moving on to topic number 3. You did a short on this. Holy smokes, we got the BMF Part 2 in boxing. Now, Masvidal versus Nate Diaz has been announced. I mean, it's big fight news. I don't know if I'm like jumping out of my seat to see this. I don't even know if I'm going to buy it. But even though I love both of the guys so much, I think if this was an MMA fight, I'd 100% want to see it. I don't know why, but I'm a little less excited to see the boxing match because I kind of feel like Masvidal is going to have a big advantage. But what are your thoughts? What are your first take?
Just like how I said it in the short that I did, like I like the fight because it's two vets, man. It's two guys that have put it all on the line for so long. They've taken so much brain damage and so much bodily harm, not even just against each other, but against the best fighters in the world, man. And I know they're going to get a great payday. So when you look at that side of the coin, man, I'm really happy for these guys. From my understanding, I trained with Jake Shields, that Nate Diaz is just one of the nicest guys and the most, one of the best guys around. I don't know Jorge Masvidal that much, but he's been in retirement. He's put on some phenomenal fights, and I do think he deserves this payday. As from a competitive standpoint, I mean, Nate is a dog, but I think the size, I really think it's just going to play out just like their MMA fight did. I think Masvidal is just going to be a little bit too big. With that being said, like I said in my short, Masvidal is retired, man. When you don't talk about fighting anymore, he's not in the gym every day busting his ass. He might be drinking, he might be doing drugs, and he's probably partying. Maybe he ran out of money and he needs this fight to pay his bills. I don't know. But I do know that Nate Diaz is a triathlon athlete. He's always in shape. And, if Jorge takes him lightly, man, he might. I mean, they're going 10 rounds. That's 30 minutes of fighting. That favors Nate Diaz, in my opinion.
Right.
Excuse me, that favors Nate Diaz, in my opinion, because the longer the fight goes, the worse it's going to get for Jorge. So I think Jorge is going to get him out of there relatively soon. I think he's probably going to cut him, and it's probably going to be a TKO stoppage, probably like by the 8th round. But You know, I've been known to be wrong before, man. I mean, Nate Diaz is a fucking dog, and it really just depends on the commission too. I feel like the boxing commission, when MMA fighters turn over to boxing, I feel like they're really quick to stop these fights. You know, I don't mean like Francis or anything, but like I'm trying to think of a fight that was a really bad stop. There's been a couple bad stoppages of MMA fighters transitioning over, and like Connor and
Floyd.
Floyd. Like, I thought that was a terrible stoppage. Like, Connor was still on his feet. Yeah, he was hurt, but dude, give the guy a standing 8 count and let him fight. They were protecting him. I know Floyd's obviously the superior boxer, but as a fighter, as Conor McGregor, I'd expect that he'd go out on his shield. And, you know, I really hope the referees let this fight go and let these guys actually fight.
Do you think there's a clear striking advantage on the side of Masvidal, or do you think it's pretty even in terms of boxing?
I think from a technical standpoint, I think it's pretty even. I mean, they both have kind of awkward styles, but you know, the advantages for Masvidal are going to be his size. You know, his size and his power. His Nate Diaz, now his advantages are his durableness and his gas tank, man. So just like we talked about good matchups, this is you know, you got a power puncher that, you know, and he's gonna be in shape. But again, going 10 rounds, man, I've boxed 10 rounds before. It's fucking tiring. And you know, if Masvidal can't last, or he tries to get him out of there in the first or second round, he might blow his tank. You know, he might blow his gas tank a little early. You know, so I mean, the time will tell. It's not. I'm gonna watch this fight because I'm fans of both of these guys, and I think they deserve the respect from all the true MMA fans of all. And again, even if the fight isn't that good and it's not that bloodied up, like these guys deserve our respect because they have all been in wars. You know what I mean? And I really hate that fans will take away from that, because these guys have entertained us for years and years and years. And now he's transitioning to boxing, a little less harmful on his body, on his legs, on his knees. He's not gonna have to worry about, you know, neck pain and shoulder, you know, well, relatively speaking, with the wrestling and the grappling. So these guys are kind of going into an easier sport, going to make more money. I think as MMA fans, we should come together and support both of these guys.
That's a fair point, and I do want to support them. I guess I'm just being kind of honest. It doesn't super psych me out, psych me up in terms of wanting to watch it.
I feel, and I'm not trying to, you know, to say that you should feel a different way, because I feel the same way you do. But let's look back when Nate Diaz fought Conor McGregor, not once but twice. How entertaining were those fights? Those were just incredible. And I respect him, and I had such a great night watching those fights that I'm going to tune into this just so he has my viewer number. Yeah. That I tuned in just to say, hey, dude, I support Nate Diaz. Hey, I support Jorge Masvidal. My college roommate, Darren Cruikshank, UFC vet. He's in Ryzen right now. He's old. He's 38 now. I'm talking shit, Darren. And, you know, but he was incredible. He fought Jorge Masvidal, dropped him. I don't remember if it was the first or the second round. Ended up getting choked out later in the game in the UFC. And Darren, to me, is one of the best MMA fighters I've ever met or ever trained with. So anybody that can beat Darren, man, has my respect. I respect both Jorge and Nate. Again, it's not a fight that jumps off the paper for me, but I am going to watch it on some streaming service.
Right on. All right. Well, let's see when that comes up. Okay, so let's talk about this little story. I don't know if you're going to be so excited about it, but I saw it and I figured we had to talk about it. Yeah, so apparently Conor McGregor, while he's doing his press for Roadhouse, which comes out on March 21st, can't wait. 6 days away.
Viewing party or what? You got the 85-inch, baby. Come on.
I definitely might have a viewing party. Yeah, or at least, yeah. So I'm going to see it the day it comes out. I can't wait. Super excited for this movie. But he did talk about in these interviews that he wants to fight in 2024, and he's getting back into camp, which is weird because I thought he was already in camp. But that was the quote that I pulled, that he's getting back into camp. I mean, this is just crazy at this point because I don't even know if this is real or what's happening. Did this give you any thoughts or any reliability factor in your mind that this is actually means he's going to be fighting Chandler or somebody soon?
It's what I'm thinking right now is Connor who? This guy, I love the guy. I think he's done incredible things for the sport, but he's irrelevant. He's lost 17 fights in a row. He's coming back from a nasty leg break. He's juiced out of his mind. He's partying. I just saw an interview with him. Dude, man, I know people when they do coke, all right? I live in Las Vegas. Watch Conor McGregor's last interview. Hey, man. Like, it's like, bro, come on, man. Step away from the camera, dude. Obviously, you're having a good time. You're partying. I'm not dogging him for that, dude. He's one of the richest athletes in the world. Let him do his thing, you know, by any means. But he's crying wolf, man. That's all he ever talks about is how he's coming back and how he's back to training. Bro, we've been doing this for 3 years, 2 years, 3 years. I'm sick of hearing it. Next.
All right. Well, hey, on that note, let's move right along.
I don't mean next Scott. I just mean like next fighter, because we keep talking about him. Dude, when's the last time he fought? 2023 Western Mass Climber. He's here. Let's go.
He's back.
Hey,
He says, Diaz, I just saw his first comment up there since you were done with the Conor McGregor topic. It says, yeah, Diaz and Masvidal are two guys just risking tarnishing their legacies now. Win from either won't be. I don't feel like it's tarnishing their legacy necessarily in a different sport.
You got to think about it in the sense of these guys are going to get paid, man. And remember, we want these athletes, we want MMA fighters to get paid. And I tell you what, if someone offered me fucking 50,000, let's say someone offered me 10,000, go fight Floyd Mayweather, boom, I'm putting on my boots, I'm running there, man, right away. Like that, these fighters, we need these paydays, man. Like once we're done fighting, where our shelf life as a fighter is not very long. We need to make as much money as I can. And, I know they're going to make a good payday, both of them, and they deserve it.
Yes, amazing. And props to the UFC for letting Masvidal fight, because they didn't have to do that, but they're letting him box. By the way, yeah, there's some guy in the back of you. All right, let's move on to our final topic. This is somebody that you know personally really, really well, and he's headlining UFC 300. He's been training at Extreme Couture, so I just want to get some updates. Obviously, no insider info or anything of the nature, but we lost Justin. There he is. He's back again. So yeah, just wanted to hear from Justin. Have you talked to Jamal? Have you trained with Jamal lately? How is he looking? What can you tell us?
I haven't seen Jamal in a couple days. Well, actually, probably since before I came to LA. I think he went back to Michigan. You have any insight on that, Roman?
I have no idea.
No, I think he went back to Michigan. I know he was there for. He said he was only going to be there for a little while. But like I said before, man, Jamal Hill's going to be ready. I know he's coming back from a terrible, terrible injury, but there's no chance the UFC PI, Dana White, Sean Shelby, Mick Maynard are going to throw him into a 300 main event slot for the title being compromised. There's just no way. And he's so smart, man. Like this guy, I tell you what, Jamal Hill, when it comes to fighting, his IQ is through the roof, and when the little bit of fighting that we do talk about when he's at the gym, like, I mean, this is a guy that I will call and text and be like, hey, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? And he doesn't give one-word answers. He's going to go in this deep, detailed discussion of why he feels this way and what it would have to happen to change his opinion, man. And I have so much respect for him. I think he's going to be ready. I think that I think the one downfall for Jamal, he's such a good striker, and he shows it in every fight. Look at how he knocked out Johnny Walker. I call that the cross knockout, when he like goes back on the cross. That was fucking awesome. But yeah. Like this guy can strike. With that being said, is Jamal going to make this a kickboxing match, or is he going to make it an MMA fight? That's the deciding factor. If I'm in Jamal's corner, even if he doesn't take, Pereira down, at least show the takedown, work your feints. Right. And I really hope he does. And I really wanted Sean Strickland to as well, and we saw how that went. So, as long as he keeps that right hand up so he blocks that left hook, works in his feints, maybe does some cage wrestling. And like I said, he doesn't have to take him down. He doesn't have to hold him down. He just has to threaten the idea of a takedown to set up his striking.
Yeah, I 100% agree, and I believe that he will. He's such a smart guy and a smart fighter. He always talks about being not a striker, but a mixed martial artist. So I do believe he'll have no ego involved and no issue with mixing it up, at least for the feints, in terms of threatening takedowns and using that in his sort of arsenal. By the way, speaking of which, it's sort of unrelated, but you mentioned Sean Strickland. I saw footage the other day of him grappling with somebody. Oh, it was crazy. Like, I've never seen him grapple in a fight, and he looked amazing with his grappling. So maybe we'll actually get to see that.
Sean Strickland is a black belt in grappling. Like, I know he doesn't care about that stuff. He just holds his pants up kind of deal, but the guy can wrestle. The guy can grapple, man. Like, and that's the thing. Like, nobody sees this part of Sean. Like, Sean trains with wrestling. He trains with literally collegiate level guys, man. What's that big wrestler, Roman? That big wrestler, he fought in Bellator, he fought Yoel Romero. You have no idea.
Yeah.
Long story short, he's Division I wrestler. He fought Yoel Romero. He's a fucking super stud in Bellator. I think he's going to the PFL now, but Sean's this guy is a powerhouse. I watch him put 405 on the squat rack, and he does reps of 5 and 10 reps at a time. And Sean is in there not only hanging with him, but defending his takedowns, dude. Like, it's such an underestimated game on Sean, is his wrestling and his grappling, and I hope one day we get to watch it. But on the other hand, I really like watching him stand and bang.
Yeah, for sure. All right, well, that's pretty much the topics that we had down for today. There is a UFC fight night tomorrow. I know Marvin Vettori had to pull out of his fight due to an injury, but there's some other good ones on there. I think.
By the way,
yeah. Go for it.
Shout out teammate Chris Curtis stepping up early May to fight Brandon Allen.
Ooh, okay, amazing. Chris Curtis, who we did have on the show, amazing.
Oh yeah, one of the guys that we've had on the show before, dude. I'm telling you, man, Chris is such a stand-up guy. I mean, the little interaction you've had with him, I'm sure you can hear that, you can feel that, man. The guy's offered to corner me in every fight I've had since my neck surgery, dude. The guy, and what a fucking gangster, step up. Oh, Brandon, and he's not like he's stepping up against, you know, fucking Roman Isabel or Justin James. He's stepping up against Brandon Allen, a fucking animal, and I can't be more happy for him.
Amazing, amazing. All right, well, cool. We'll look for that one. We're coming up to UFC 300. Holy smokes, it's almost here, and we got so many amazing fights to talk about leading up, because we're gonna have to talk about the prelims, the pre-prelims, the main. I mean, it's gonna be crazy. So we got so much good content coming out.
What's our score? What's our score?
Ooh, I don't know.
Come on, player.
We've picked almost the same people. Okay, I
picked Peter Yan and you picked somebody else. That was the only difference.
Oh, Song Yudong. So you got that one. So you're up by 1. All right, I'm gonna get the score sheet set up. So right now Justin's ahead then, because everything else we picked and
yeah, we picked
failed with VSD and a bunch of other people. But anyways,
I tell you what, Song Yudong looked good though. He looked fucking really good.
He did. First round, he looked amazing. But you know, that's how Peter Yan does it. He figures you out and then turns it up. So all right, guys. Thank you so much for joining. If you like this video, make sure to click that like button. If you want to see more, make sure to click subscribe. Thank you, everybody, for joining, and we will see you in the next video. Take it easy. Hold on one second.